Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your August 2017 general readings. Let me adjust my headphones here. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Welcome any newcomers, and thank you always in the beginning. Thank you for all your likes, your shares, your subscribes, your support, feedback, and comments. Thank you for taking the time for those of you who do. And for those of you who continue to reach out for personal one-on-one readings, and to my regular clients as well, thank you. Yes, my background has changed if you didn't know from watching the beginning of the month readings because I am bouncing around Eastern Europe, currently in Poland right now. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I do travel frequently, but I still keep up with my same schedule of posting general readings along with personal one-on-one readings and working with my regular clients as well, because the internet is just about everywhere in the world, which is a blessing today. So, and if any of you are interested in any personal one-on-one reading with me and you haven't read with me before, you can click on that little about or description button on my YouTube channel's homepage, which has more information, and my email address, which is Maggie, the number one McGuire at gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I do a wide variety of readings, and I do readings full time. It is what I do. I read 5 to 6 days a week. So I can usually get back with you within a day or so of your initial contact. With an exchange of information. And we can set up a reading for you almost always within a 2 week period of time, anywhere from a few days upwards of 2 weeks, depending on what you want. So if you're interested, send me an email. We'll go from there. Make sure to check your rising and your moon sign videos as well if you know them and if you can. They may play out a little more predictively for you than your primary sun sign, but watching all three almost always gives you additional insight, clarification, more pieces of the picture of what's going on in your life for the time frame that the reading covers. So try to watch sun, moon, and rising if you can. Because there's a lot of you watching. It's a general video and there's so many of you watching. Of course, they're not going to mean the same thing to the same degree and intensity for everyone watching. Some of you, this reading may resonate in the relationship sector of your life, love or friendship or family or even relationships at work. Some of you, it may be job, work, career section of your life, spirituality, projects, creative or artistic endeavors. The specifics of how it plays out will vary from person to person, but as I always say, the energy will fundamentally remain the same. So just try to watch all three if you can. So moving right into this, we are looking at August mid-month readings, the last half of August. So I will be pulling 2 cards for each of the remaining 2 weeks with an additional 5th card from the bottom of the deck for overall energy and guidance. And this reading is for the fire sign of Sagittarius for the last half of August 2017. So Sagittarius, we have the 8 of Cups, followed by the 8 of Swords. We have the Sun, followed by the Ace of Swords. Wow. And from the bottom of the deck, your crowning card, overall energy and guidance, is the Two of Wands. Looks like some of you have had like some kind of wake-up call, epiphany, light bulb going off over your head in regards to something. What that something is I mean, some of you, it may be in a relationship. Some of you, it could be job, work, career. Again, creative or artistic endeavors, projects. Not a lot of cards, and they're pretty evenly. We have a wands, a cup, a sword, 2 swords, a major arcana card, and it's the sun too. Beautiful, powerful card, if not one of the best, if not the best in the tarot deck. So Sagittarius, we begin with the 8 of Cups, which is a card, it's water energy. This is a card of walking away, of leaving something behind, and leaving it behind because you're disappointed, disillusioned, or it's run its course. Perhaps you thought it was going to be someone or something, a situation was going to be something, and it's turned out to be something else. Perhaps you're just done with whatever you've been investing in. The cups on the 8 cups on the ground behind this man, some of them are tipped over and spilled out. Some of them are still upright and full. The implication being he's tasted and drunk from most, if not all, of these cups. And while he may have thought at the time it was what he wanted, or it was distracting, or he thought it was going to be something and it turned out to be something else, he's come to the end of it and he's decided, I'm no longer, this is not where my joy and fulfillment is here. He's made up his mind to turn his back and leave definitively, or strongly thinking about leaving and turning and walking away because there's no more fulfillment or joy. It's not what he wants or she wants anymore. You may not be entirely certain what direction you're going in because you're still just surveying the horizon, but you do know that you want to leave this behind you. What is this? Well, the Eight of Cups is clarified by the Eight of Swords. This is a card of feeling trapped, as you can see, held hostage, bound, a victim, perhaps helpless, unable to make a choice, to make a change, powerless. But it is illusionary. Swords is air energy. It's mental, cerebral, intellectual energy. It's about what we believe in, our belief systems and ideas and words, and how we communicate, how it affects the way that we communicate. It's all about what goes on up in here, that mental, cerebral energy. The Eight of Swords, you could see that this woman is completely encircled by this Ring of Swords, almost held hostage. These swords can represent a multitude of ideas, or it can represent like a single large idea or belief system. They're actually not holding her hostage. They're plenty wide enough that she could walk through and away from them if she just looked at them head on and chose to do that. She's on her knees, but nobody's forcing her there and nobody's holding her there. She could stand up on her own 2 feet herself. She's chained up at the wrists, but those chains aren't attached to anything or anybody. If she just twisted her hands around, those chains could fall off. She could stand up on her own 2 feet, remove the blindfold, and see that her situation, she is not powerless. She has the ability to get up, walk away. She has the control, the ability to make a choice, as we all do. So there's sense, and that's what I mean by illusionary energy. There's been a sense that something that you've been in, whether it's a job, a relationship, a project, some kind of place in your life where you wanted a change, wanted a difference, but for some reason felt like you didn't have the ability to choose, to make the choice, to take control of your own life. It's illusionary, and it's time to leave this sense of feeling trapped and bound and held hostage and powerless behind you. Definitely time to move on. Even if you're not entirely certain of where exactly you're going or the direction, it's time to leave it behind. Now, next to that, we have a very powerful combination of cards. We have a combination of the Sun, beautiful, along with the Ace of Swords, very powerful. The Sun, major arcana card, probably the best in the deck. Think about the sun. It shines over everything. It brings illumination, clarifications. If you didn't have solutions before, the sun brings it, answers, insight. It clarifies things that were previously in shadow or cloudy or fuzzy. It also represents an uplifting of energy, kind of a darkness into light, winter into spring, sadness into hope kind of feeling. Light, love, warmth, laughter. Being able to breathe easier, financial restrictions lifting or loosening up a bit. It's a beautiful, beautiful energy, and there's a strong sense of or a theme of fun, relaxation, and unwinding of pressures lifting, and of energies just generally being uplifted. And it is accompanied or clarified by the Ace of Swords. So aces represent the number one. They always represent the beginning of something that holds a lot of potential and promise. How it turns to manifest and its potential is really kind of up to how you take care of it, because aces represent beginnings, the introductory part of something. So they represent seeds, really, which contain an entire world in those seeds. But as you know, seeds need to be planted in the right kind of soil at the right time, and then nurtured and taken care of so that they can grow and manifest their full potential, and then eventually end up giving back and nurturing to you. So otherwise, aces can fizzle out as can just start as like a great idea which never gets acted on, and so it just fizzles out, or something which you start to put together but just end up kind of collecting dust in your garage or in the back of your mind or something like that. Aces represent new beginnings, which holds a lot of potential if they're followed through with. So this is the Ace of Swords. Swords is that mental, cerebral energy, information, words, ideas, how we see things, belief systems, perspectives. So this is kind of like your light bulb moment, kind of a new thought, a new perspective, a fresh new perspective, a different way of looking at something, or just an outright out of the blue answer or solution to something that you've been needing. The Ace of Swords comes in because swords is also about clarity, truth, illumination, higher education, and learning. The Ace of Swords comes in and it cuts away extraneous fantasy and illusion, and it illuminates and clarifies the absolute reality and truth of something in what it is, in its true form, an answer and a solution as well. And it represents success too. And this is what brings the energy of the sun, or the sun brings this energy. It's kind of like something happened, like an event happened of some kind. Maybe you felt like you were locked into a relationship you didn't want, or just couldn't get out of, whether it was a marriage or some other kind of romantic relationship, or a long-term friendship, or a job, or a project, or some kind of endeavor, something that you feel you've been locked into, but it just hasn't turned out the way you wanted, or it served its course, but for some reason you felt like you just couldn't leave. All of a sudden the light bulb's gone off, either an insight or solution has been revealed, or you've just woken up and went, I don't need this. I'm done with this. I can leave and walk away anytime I want to, because life is ultimately about our own personal choices. We live in a free will zone. And with that comes freedom. And yes, there's consequences to pay for the choices we make. There's a price to pay for walking away, and there's a price to pay for staying. But I think for you, Sagittarius, it's about a realization for most of you that occurs where you all of a sudden wake up and see that this sense of feeling trapped and held hostage, that you couldn't make a change because of obligations or this, that, or the other thing. It's really just an illusion. It's a message you're telling yourself, or that your environment or people in your environment are telling you, you can't because of this, you can't because of that, you can't because of this. Well, you can. And I believe that this kind of occurs to you. It's just like the sun goes woof in your life, and it's a sense of freedom and an uplifting of energy that maybe previously was heavy or restrictive somehow. And it's about thinking about what you want in your future. What do you really want long term? It kind of feels like perhaps in this trapped feeling you've been slogging along, putting one foot in front of the other, not thinking too much beyond the next day and the next day. But this kind of comes in and blows everything away, and it's about looking long term. What do I really want? If this is in the relationship area of your life, what do you really want long term? Where do you really want to be a year, 5 years, 10 years from now? If it's in the job, work, career section of your life, same thing. Whatever area of your life this resonates in, because your overall energy and guidance is the Two of Wands. This is about being at a crossroads, needing to choose a path. Do I take this path? Do I take that path? The key in knowing which path to choose is in knowing what your destination is, or at least having a very good idea of what you really want. Long-term thinking and planning. In whatever area of your life this resonates in, what do you really want long-term? What's your big picture goal? And that makes the path of getting there easier to see, because if you don't know where you want to end up, how in the world can you know what path that you want to choose to take you there? So it's about long-term thinking and planning overall. And it's kind of like, this is what kind of occurs. It's almost like a bomb going off in your head, Sagittarius. Beautiful, powerful energy. Can't wait to hear the feedback on how this resonates for you, Sagittarians out there, or whoever's watching perhaps. So Sagittarius, that pretty much wraps up your August 2017 mid-month readings. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it helpful in some way, because that's why we do it. Again, if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me and you haven't read with me before, you can click on that little about or information description button on my YouTube channel's homepage, which has a little more information, and my email address, which is Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be most happy to work with you. I will see you all again in a week or two. And until then, as always, Sagittarius, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. And I hope to see you back here again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.